In a remote corner of the desert, there are stories that shock even the most seasoned travelers, where divorced women are taken to markets to find new husbands. Young girls are force-fed to the point of illness, all in the name of a strange beauty ideal. And there's a village where 1 in every 10 people is born blind. This is Mauritania, a country the world seems to have forgotten. Mauritania, a strange land where all norms are reversed. Tucked away in northwest Africa, between the vast sands of the Sahara Desert and the untouched shores of the Atlantic Ocean, lies Mauritania, a country that seems to operate by its own rules. In a world where global standards often dictate health, beauty, gender roles, and human rights, this nation follows a very different path. Here, age-old customs passed down through generations still define daily life. In some communities, beauty is measured by how much weight one gains. In others, divorce is not the end, but a new beginning. And in certain remote villages, a hereditary illness has turned light itself into a luxury few can afford. Mauritania is not just a place on the map. It's a mirror reflecting reversed ideals, jarring contrasts, and deeply rooted traditions that challenge conventional thinking. Tinea, the Village of Darkness. Far from the noise of the modern world lies Tyne, a small village surrounded by endless dunes. In this isolated community, a haunting phenomenon persists, an unusually high rate of congenital blindness. Reports suggest that roughly 1 in 10 people here is born without the ability to see. The root cause is believed to be generations of interfamily marriages, combined with extreme environmental conditions, poor nutrition, and an almost complete lack of medical infrastructure. In Tinea, darkness is not just a physical condition, it's a symbol of neglect, hardship, and an uncertain future. There are no specialized schools for blind children, no job opportunities for blind adults. Families often live in silence, relying on one another and clinging to age-old customs as a means of survival. The reality in Tinea is a stark reminder that some communities remain in the shadows, where light, both literal and metaphorical, has long since disappeared. Gavage, force fattening to be loved. While much of the modern world embraces thinness as the ideal body image, many rural areas in Mauritania celebrate the opposite. A fuller figure is seen as a sign of beauty, wealth, and fertility. To meet these cultural standards, an ancient practice still continues today, known as gavage or force feeding. From as young as 5 or 6 years old, girls are made to drink liters of camel milk daily and consume high-fat meals, often until they vomit. This process can continue for months or even years, with the belief that only when a girl becomes round enough will she be marriageable and socially desirable. Behind the surface of tradition lies a troubling reality: obesity, heart disease, diabetes, and severe psychological trauma. Many of these young girls suffer lifelong health consequences. This ritual exposes a deep conflict between cultural values and modern health awareness, between social pressure and personal autonomy, a tension that still remains unresolved across many parts of the country. Divorce markets where life begins again. In most societies, divorce is often associated with stigma, shame, or personal failure. But in Mauritania, it takes on a different meaning. Here, separation from a spouse is not necessarily viewed as a setback. It can be a turning point, even a new beginning. Across several cities, there are markets where divorced women gather not only to sell goods such as traditional foods, handmade crafts, or textiles, but also to reconnect with life and, in some cases, to find love again. These spaces are known informally as divorce markets. Far from being marginalized, divorced women in Mauritania are often seen as strong, experienced, and emotionally resilient. Many men even prefer them as life partners, valuing their maturity and independence. These markets serve a dual purpose: economic empowerment and social renewal. They are hubs of conversation, exchange, and possibility, places where stories are shared, laughter returns, and futures are quietly rebuilt from the remnants of the past. Slavery, a story that hasn't ended. Despite being legally abolished in 1981 and criminalized in 2007, slavery remains an unsettling reality in parts of Mauritania. It hides in the open, woven into the fabric of rural life, passed down through generations, disguised as tradition, and rarely challenged. In some remote areas, individuals are still born into servitude, expected to serve their masters for life without pay, rights, or recognition. Many do not even know that freedom is possible. Others, aware of their condition, remain silent out of fear of punishment, societal rejection, or retribution. Government responses have often been criticized as slow or symbolic. Investigations stall, complaints vanish, and the cycle continues. The persistence of slavery in Mauritania is not just a legal failure, it is a human tragedy that continues to unfold in the shadows, shielded by ignorance, silence, and a lack of political will. Freedom of the press, legal in name, repressed in reality. Mauritania's constitution guarantees freedom of speech and expression, but the truth on the ground tells a different story. Journalists, bloggers, and activists who speak out against government corruption, social inequality, or human rights abuses frequently face censorship, intimidation, and even life-threatening consequences. One of the most alarming cases involved a young blogger who was sentenced to death for publishing an article criticizing discriminatory practices within the country. The international backlash was swift, but the message sent to the local press was chilling. Dissent comes at a high price. In a media environment clouded by fear and control, investigative reporting is rare, and self-censorship is widespread. While official statements speak of openness, reality points to repression, where the pen remains powerful but also dangerous. Elections, the illusion of democracy. At first glance, Mauritania seems to follow the path of democratic governance. Ballots are cast, leaders are elected, and institutions appear to function. However, beneath the surface, the mechanics of power tell a very different story. Opposition candidates face systemic obstacles, ranging from bureaucratic disqualifications to veiled threats and targeted intimidation. Electoral rolls often include names of the deceased, non-existent individuals, or duplicated entries, casting doubt on the integrity of the process. In many cases, voters head to the polls with the quiet understanding that outcomes are already decided. While democratic rituals are observed, the spirit of democracy struggles to breathe. The illusion persists, but the voice of the people remains faint, overshadowed by manipulation, control, and political theater. Life among the dunes, surviving the desert. Mauritania ranks among the driest nations on Earth. With nearly 90% of its territory classified as desert or semi-desert, the landscape is defined by windswept dunes, unforgiving temperatures, and long stretches of isolation. Daytime heat can scorch the skin, while desert nights bite with piercing cold. Yet, amid this harsh environment, communities endure. Nomadic herders guide their camels across ancient trade routes. Women fetch water from distant wells. Families build lives from sand, sun, and sheer resilience. These are not just survivors. They are people who call the desert home and do so with pride. They refer to themselves as masters of the desert, a title earned through centuries of adaptation, endurance, and wisdom passed from generation to generation. Where others see emptiness, they see tradition, belonging, and a way of life carved from the elements. Education and healthcare, two closed doors. In many parts of Mauritania, education remains out of reach. Illiteracy rates are high, especially among women and girls. Schools are sparse, often located miles from home, and many lack basic infrastructure. Teachers are undertrained and underpaid, and countless children must leave school early to support their families through labor or herding. Healthcare paints a similar picture. Hospitals are outdated, medical supplies are frequently scarce, and trained doctors are few and overwhelmed. Rural clinics may go weeks without basic medications, and emergency care is a rare luxury. In some areas, life expectancy hovers around just 46 years. Infant and maternal mortality rates remain among the highest in the region. Together, these conditions form a cycle of hardship, where a lack of education limits opportunity and weak healthcare makes survival itself a challenge. Mauritania, a forgotten world. While nearby countries like Morocco and Tunisia appear on tourist brochures and travel blogs, Mauritania often goes unnoticed. Yet, precisely because of its obscurity, it retains something rare, an untouched, deeply rooted culture that has remained largely unchanged by globalization. Here, customs are preserved with pride. People eat with their right hands, as the left is reserved for hygiene. Women wear full-length garments, and exposing arms or legs in public is seen as deeply improper. Greetings follow elaborate rituals with specific gestures and phrases marking respect and kinship. To outsiders, these norms may seem unusual, but within the culture, they are symbols of identity, dignity, and social harmony. Mauritania may not offer polished tourism, but it offers something more profound: authenticity. Would you dare step into Mauritania? This is not a destination for ordinary travelers. It is not shaped by resorts or guided tours, and it does not cater to comfort-seeking tourists. Mauritania speaks to a different kind of visitor: those who seek raw reality, ancient rhythm, and a world governed by its own rules. It is a land of extremes, of contradictions and hardships, but also of deep resilience, rich traditions, and unwavering human spirit. From desert traders and camel herders to poets and market women, every corner holds a story unlike any other. On the surface, it may seem like a country with little to offer. But look closer, and it may reveal everything. Share your thoughts about the strange truths of Mauritania in the comments. Subscribe to Explore World so you don't miss our upcoming journeys. And if you enjoyed this story, your next adventure is just one click away.